The accusation behind this story is massive. Cabinet ministers, opposition leaders, journalists were being illegally spied upon using the most intrusive hacking software on earth, Pegasus. What happens to the personal data, whether or not our government is using Pegasus, who is the manpower who's handling this data, where the money is coming from. This is the whole story. This is the biggest story to break in India in a while, and we're talking about COVID times, so it must be big. The accusation behind this story is massive. The accusation basically is that hundreds of Indian citizens were being illegally spied upon using the most intrusive hacking software on earth. That software is called Pegasus. The investigation and the report that came out was called the Pegasus Project. This is the whole story. The Wire, which is one of 16 international media outlets, including The Guardian and The Washington Post, investigated a leaked list of what it called Pegasus software targets from around the world. Now, this list apparently was first received by Paris media outlet Forbidden Stories and Amnesty International, who then shared it with these 16 media outlets who investigated it and put out the story all on the same day. Now, the list had 50,000 phone numbers from across the world who were possible or potential targets for the NSO Group's Pegasus software. So these were perhaps or potential targets for that software. Out of those 50,000 phone numbers, 300 phone numbers were Indian phone numbers that were verified by The Wire. Now, among these phone numbers are two serving cabinet ministers in the government right now, opposition leaders, journalists, and other very important people. I'll take you through that list a little later. But it's important to remember that the story right now says these could be potential targets or could have been existing targets. Now, before we go any further to find out why this is so worrying, we have to first figure out what Pegasus does. So Pegasus is what is called a malicious malware, which means that it can infect your device or your phone without you knowing, and it can read your data without your consent. That's what makes it malicious. What's particularly dangerous is that it can infect a device or a phone through a text message. So, the early days when your computer would be hacked, they would send you an email, you would have to click on that email and open something or download something in order to get hacked. Pegasus doesn't need you to click on something or download anything. Just by sending a text message to your phone, it can hack your phone. And once it hacks your phone, it sends all the data on your phone to the operator of Pegasus, who can now read everything, including your messages, all of your apps, your photographs, your appointments, your location at any given point of time. It can read all of those things and relay everything to the operator or the hacker who hacked your phone to begin with. The hacker can then communicate to the Pegasus spyware via a command center and give instructions on what the phone should do. So, for example, not only can it read your WhatsApp, your Signal, everything that you have on your phone, it can also switch on your microphone on your phone when the phone is not in use and record what is going on in the room. It can switch on your camera when your phone is not in use and record what's going on in the room. Through this, the software can access key and sensitive personal information, obviously contact lists, who you're meeting, what you're talking about, sensitive conversations. It can also access intensely private conversations and material that could possibly be used for blackmail. And that's something really worrying. Now, imagine for a potential target, for the phone to come on and record conversations in the bedroom, for example. That is extremely sensitive, extremely private, and is not allowed by any law of the land under any circumstances, right? And imagine what would happen then if that information about a sensitive personal relationship has reached into the hands of a potentially dangerous organization. That is why this is extremely worrying. Now, where does Pegasus come from as a software? Pegasus is developed by an Israeli firm called NSO Group. You'll hear a lot about NSO Group. Now, it was set up in January 2010. And the NSO group has come up several times in the past as well for other malware, and I'll get to that later. But on its website, on its transparency and responsibility report, the NSO group says that it only sells this weapons grade spyware because it's so sophisticated. It's exported as a weapon from Israel. This weapons grade spyware is only sold to vetted government agencies to be used only in the cases of national security and law enforcement, and that it does not operate Pegasus itself, but it is deployed one phone at a time by the government operators who have used it on special targets. So it cannot be mass deployed. It can't be deployed on everybody's phone because it's like a wiretap. The government agency that NSO has sold Pegasus to has to select the phone number, tap and hack that phone, and then it gets all of this dump data, right? Everything on the phone. So one individual or multiple individuals will have to read through everything to find out what is interesting. Now, NSO has also said in a previous situation that it has 60 government agencies as clients from 40 different countries, but it hasn't revealed which country or which agency is its client. Now, on the list that was released, on the 50,000 names that came out, the countries that largely were involved were Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Morocco, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, India, and the United Arab Emirates. This is the company that we're keeping on this list. Now you know what the software can do and how potentially dangerous it is. Let's take a look at the potential targets that were on the list as released by The Wire. Now, The Wire took the 300 phone numbers. They verified who these phone numbers belong to. In some cases, as far as journalists were concerned, they've won 40 journalists on this list. And you can find the entire list on The Wire website. You should really check out their full reports. But they got 7 of those journalists to hand over their phone for forensic analysis. And in the forensic analysis, it was discovered that the Pegasus software was on those phones. Now, out of 300, remember, 40 journalists, out of 40 journalists, 7 had their phones forensically analyzed. So the rest don't have their phones analyzed right now. On that list, importantly, Ashwini Vaishnaw, who is the current Minister of Railways, IT and Communications, and his wife. Incidentally, he was making a statement in Parliament when it was released that his name was on the list. Prahlad Singh Patel, who's the Union Minister for State for Jal Shakti. The list apparently also includes his wife and 15 close associates, including his cook and his gardener. Ashok Lavasa, former election commissioner who was very active in the 2019 elections and also censured the current government for breaking some of those rules. You can go back and look at some of those stories. Prashant Kishore, who's a very popular election strategist. Rahul Gandhi. 2 of his phone numbers and 5 of his close associates were on that list. Abhishek Banerjee, who is a Trinamool Congress MP and Mamata Banerjee's nephew. Former Supreme Court staffer. Now, this is a worrying one. There was a woman who accused the former Chief Justice of India, Ranjan Gogoi, of sexual harassment. Her phone number and several members of her family were also on this list as potential targets for surveillance. Dr. Gagandeep Kang, who's a top scientist and a virologist, her number. Hari Menon, India head of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Jagdeep Chokar, who is the head of the Association for Democratic Reforms, has done a lot of work in terms of information. The personal secretary to former Rajasthan Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje, and several others. And of course, the list of the 40 journalists who were interestingly largely working on investigative reports, working on defense, Rafael, that sort of stories, working on external affairs and diplomacy as stories. Many of them were on that list, including several journalists from Wire as well. Also, several of the accused in the Bhima Koregaon case were also on that list. Now, the Bhima Koregaon case we've explained in a different video, and you can take a look at that as well. So it's an exhaustive list, and you can find the whole list, like I said, on the Wire's website. And if you're interested, you could go through it. So this is what we have. In election commissioner, we understand people linked to the judiciary, people in the opposition, people who are current ministers, and this is why this is dangerous. Now, again, you have to join the dots here. If NSO says that this is only being sold to governments and not to private entities, and if our ministers, our election commissioners are being spied on, if it's not our government, then it is a different government from a different country, and that is a national security issue, which is why This perhaps needs to be investigated very closely right now. Let's take a look at the responses that have come in since this story broke across the world. Remember, this is not just an India story. There have been a lot of accusations that this is just the opposition cooking stuff up, but it's happening across the world. So let's take a look at the extent of this story right now across the world. Now, first of all, NSO, which is the maker of Pegasus, has put out a statement. The spokesperson has said, and I quote, NSO will thoroughly investigate any credible proof of misuse of its technology, as we always had, and will shut down the system where necessary. In a letter to The Wire and the Pegasus Project partners, who are all of these 16 organizations, media organizations who released this across the world, the NSO had said that it has good reason to believe that the leaked data, the list of numbers, was not targeted by governments using Pegasus, but instead was a larger list of numbers that might have been used by NSO group customers for other purposes. So effectively, they're saying that this list was not a target list for Pegasus, but it could have been a target list for something else, which is a slightly vague thing. I want to take you through the global impact of Pegasus on other countries other than India. Israel, obviously the home from where this comes from, has set up an inter-ministerial team to look into these allegations of Pegasus spyware being sold by one of its own companies and being abused in India, France, Mexico, Morocco, Iraq. The Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz was forced to defend granting export licenses to NSO Group to actually sell this software to foreign governments. And he said that the countries who purchase these systems must meet the terms of use, which means that it should only be used for criminal and terrorism investigations and not to spy on private citizens. In Hungary, the Pegasus project showed that through forensics that investigative journalists and a circle of one of the country's last remaining independent media owners were in fact being hacked. There was a large outcry in Brussels in Hungary. Moroccan authorities strongly denied that their intelligence services have been using NSO spyware. The public prosecutor has ordered a government inquiry. In Mexico, the First Lady called on the Attorney General's office to investigate revelations made by the Pegasus project, breaking ranks with her husband, who said that he will not make a criminal complaint about the number of politicians and innocent civilians whose numbers were on that list. In the UK, questions were asked in British Parliament at the aftermath of the revelations, where more than 400 UK phone numbers appeared on that list. The principal government responsible for putting UK phone numbers on that list was the United Arab Emirates, and that was worrying in the UK because the UAE is an ally of England. And of course, there was France. Now, in France, President Emmanuel Macron has changed his mobile number multiple times after his name was discovered on the list as well. Macron chaired an urgent national security meeting to discuss the use of Pegasus software and cyberware, and he's ordered multiple investigations to be carried out. Research suggests that Morocco was the country that was interested in Macron and his senior team. So this is what's happening across the world, how various countries are reacting to information that their own numbers were on that list. Most of them have ordered inquiries. What's happening at home? Now let's look at what's happening at home. The BJP has said that the entire report is, and I quote, concocted, fabricated, evidence-less, and the new report's based on a call for defamation. The Union Electronics and Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw said the allegations are over the top, made in the reports. There was a statement released by the government, which was unsigned, put out on ANI, which said that this basically, the report is playing investigator, prosecutor, as well as the jury. Former Information Technology Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, who would have been in charge at the time that these alleged taps had actually taken place between 2018 and 2019 in the run-up to the elections, he said, and I quote, "Opposition allegations of surveillance by government are baseless. Some agencies are active to stop the march of Atmanirbhar Bharat. The allegations being levelled just before the monsoon session are suspicious. There is not a shred of evidence on linkage of the government." Now, also responding in Parliament, Ravi Shankar Prasad had basically said that no unauthorized use has taken place. So we don't really clearly know the answer from the government on whether there has been authorized use that has taken place, whether the government has used it at all, or what this situation is. Now, the other thing to note about Pegasus is that it is hugely expensive. We understand from various reports that it costs close to 1 crore rupees per phone number to hack per phone number. So that's 300 crore rupees on the 300 numbers if this turns out to be true. Also, it would take a large team of people to actually sift through all of this information to find whatever the hacker was interested in. Plus, at this point, since we don't have a confirmation of whether or not our government is using Pegasus, which department of government is using Pegasus, where the money is coming from, and who is the manpower who's handling this data, there's no sanctity to the data also. Let's assume that the hacker was only interested in professional data. What happens to the personal data? If the person reading through it is going to use it for blackmail, we don't know, which is why this is such a hot potato, because the possibility of blackmailing someone in power currently right now is, like I said, a national security risk. Well, like I said, this is not the first time that Pegasus has popped up in the news. Let me take you through some of the other instances. In September 2018, a Canadian cybersecurity organization called the Citizen Lab published a comprehensive report identifying 45 countries, including India, in which the spyware had been used. In October 2019, WhatsApp revealed that journalists and human rights activists in India had been targets of surveillance by operators using Pegasus. In fact, there was a court case in California where WhatsApp took NSO to court for misusing WhatsApp to actually hack into phones. That case, of course, is where NSO had to answer a lot of questions. As of now, the government, the opposition has demanded a couple of things. They've demanded that Parliament have a structured debate on and ask questions to the government on Pegasus. They've demanded a joint parliamentary committee. The Congress party, Rahul Gandhi specifically, has demanded a joint parliamentary committee, and he said the Prime Minister and the Home Minister have used this as a weapon, and they will have to, he's actually called it treason. But there's also a demand right now for a judicial inquiry into this whole Pegasus scandal. Let's take a look at some of the other statements that are coming in. WhatsApp CEO has made a statement saying mobile phones are the primary communicator for billions of people. Governments and companies must do everything they can to make it as secure as possible. Our security and freedom depends on it. Amnesty International organization. Remember, Amnesty was one of the first two organizations that accessed this list and then handed it over to the media. The Amnesty International has categorically stood by the findings of the Pegasus report, because one of the current government ministers, Meenakshi Lekhi, made a statement that Amnesty has rolled back its accusation, and it has basically rolled back the report. Amnesty has come out and cleared that and said that it categorically stands by the findings of the Pegasus project. The organization has said data is irrefutably linked to potential targets of NSO Group's Pegasus software. Now, the entire investigation has come under some criticism. The criticism is that there's no hard proof, and the hard proof will only come when the phones of the individuals on the list, are submitted for forensic evidence. Now, who's going to do that? There must be an assurance that if there is an investigation to find out whether or not these individuals were actually being spied on, whether their phones were being hacked, and whether there was espionage actually taking place, there has to be a reliable investigation that takes place, which means the judiciary has to get involved, and it has to be a judicial investigation or an investigation that is monitored by the judiciary. Because at the end of the day, as a government, as a democracy, as citizens, we must know the answer to this. Are we being spied upon? If we are being spied upon, by whom and for what purpose? Whether that happens to be government agencies of our own, are they doing it for reasons of national security and law and order, and are their reasons valid? If it happens to be somebody else's government, a neighboring government, a government that is not in our, obviously in our best interest, then we must know who that is and what information that they're accessing, because all of this is a national security issue. So all these questions will be answered when we have an investigation. And there does seem to be enough merit here to demand an investigation to get to the bottom of this. I do believe there has to be an investigation because as citizens of a democracy, we have a fundamental right to privacy. At the very least, we have a fundamental right to know what is going on in our country. The answer to this can only be an independent judicial inquiry. Well, that's the whole story that we have right now on the Pegasus project. We hope this cleared up a lot of doubts. If there's something else you'd want us to go through, do leave it for us in a comment section. Tell us what you'd like us to break down for you. If there's anything off the story that you didn't feel that we fully explained, then we'll make another attempt at it. Thank you so much for watching.